capitalize on this. Again, they're gonna throw that cast. They're gonna disrupt all the plans that Geek Fam have. But again, we were talking about how Geek Fam really need to make sure that they have a strong defense over here because we already know how Divine Esports likes to dive in. Oh, what do you think of the pick so far?
I think it's pretty hyped stuff coming in from Divine Esports, right? It's looking like a really classic Vietnamese team comp. We are gonna run at you, we're gonna throw spears at you, chains of corruptions, and while all that's going on, there's gonna be an Akali dancing around in your backline. Good adaptation on the TF. I think this is pretty necessary, but it's two-sided, right? It's really good into the Akali, but you open yourself to get counterpicked. That's gonna be Jarvan mid for Coyote to counterpick TF, and you're also really vulnerable to Olaf. So there's a lot of caveats here to this TF pick. Yes, it's really good against the Shroud. Yes, it's great against Akali. And I do want to point out, Shank being on Darius, that's not typically what you would think of as a hard carry champion. So I'm not exactly sure what he can do here.
Look, it's his highest win rate pickup. It's a champion that he has shown a lot of comfort on, and if you're looking for comfort, that's definitely it. So I think the Shank at least has a standing chance with that. It's at least better than his Redacted, I think.
Well, we are gonna see, of course, if who else can follow up on the Shang for the side of Geek Fam. Can they truly shine without Veki? While Veki has gone over to Alliance, it is their time to shine, and they really have one shot at this because, as we mentioned, Divine Esports, they are fully warmed up, and I really do think they're ready to start breaking that 1-1-1 trend over here, and they're ready to take that first 2-0 of the day. So let's get into game number 1. This Geek Fam versus Divine Esports. Casters, take it away.
Very much there, Mika, and the panel as chaotic as ever. That's why we love those two, because they just deliver such polarizing arguments. But yes, we're here for our third matchup of the day. Geek Fam going to get a rude welcoming, you'd have to imagine here, TJ, up against a very informed Divine Esports.
Yeah, I mean, group of death so far has been tie. And the reason for that is that these are the best teams from their regions. Like, this group draw, I don't know how to put it, was incredibly uneven. A lot of the seed ones, a lot of the best teams out of their regions ended up in Group B. And Geek Fam are no different. They are the best team from the Malaysian region, and they are incredibly good. They absolutely destroyed their region. But the region itself is a little weaker in terms of macro play, in terms of map play, and relies on team fights, which is not what you want to rely on when you're playing into Divine, who are unstoppable in team fights.
Certainly are. We've already seen that witnessed earlier today as they had that one-to-one, making it as spicy as anything. I'm very curious to see where Geek Fam will play to try and find this advantage, just to try and really challenge. I mean, we look at the Shang, that was the big focus point for me. As most played champion has been as Darius. And if they can get off to a good start here, certainly a lot of potential for them to try and run this map right. As the Ignite goes out, Coyote as clean and as cold as you like. One Summoner and First Blood.
Very easy to do, and this is the Divine that you expect, burning out early advantages off of, frankly, skill checks in lane, benefiting from their strength as players. And Coyote on a little bit more of a utility pick here, don't get me wrong, as Jarvan still does damage, as you saw. But the main purpose is to be a secondary tank, to be that front line, so that you can throw Varus, Gragas, Akali damage kind of over the top.
Got ourselves a small pause here. We'll wait to get confirmation as to what's gone on here. But in the meantime, I mean, let's break down some more of the win conditions to really look at, because Divine Esports, I do see that comfort, right? Hope One playing the Varus, Coyote flexing with this J4 as he does time and time again. But you know, how critical do we need to be towards lane when he's not playing the, you know, these assassins, when he is on his Olaf? Because we know that he can be so dominant, but it feels like one of those champions where he's like, I don't necessarily need to be the star of the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good, it's a very good flag, Skimmy, because Len maybe doesn't feel like he needs to be so dominant, but I think Divine need Len to be that dominant, because they're a team that relies on team fights. They're a team that isn't as good at executing macro play across the map, and that's not a problem for Divine when they have the early game momentum that lends Lee Sin, that lends Kha'Zix, that lends even Jarvan can give them. Because Len is so good at showing up early in these lanes and just grabbing kills. Olaf, it's a little harder to do that. Olaf needs what's known as gank assist. He needs somebody else in the lane to find a stun, to find a slow, to open up the lane. Because Olaf himself doesn't have the tools to lock people down well enough to actually find kills by himself. So you're going to see less lane impact, frankly, from Len. Also, Olaf not highly mobile, so you're not going to see as quick map movement from Len. And in the series earlier today, when they played versus Flash Wolves, I think that really cost them. I think the fact that Len wasn't able to get into lanes early and find an advantage really dropped Divine behind.
Yeah, and I wonder if we can sort of draw any comparisons between that game and this one here, because we are going into another of those marksmen, which does want to navigate this early game with as much precision and power as possible, and say, we're going to keep it even, we're going to keep it tense, and we're going to continue to deliver what we have seen tonight already be an effect of close games, high tension, high stakes, and late game shenanigans, which really boil everything to a close in dramatic fashion.
Yeah. So here we go. Geek Fam, the most important metric here is, and we're going to find it out very quickly, can they teamfight toe-to-toe with Divine? The metric we've seen so far for the Malaysian region, both in this tournament and the Summer Super Cup, here's Len, early gank.
Yeah, that's going to force out the Valkyrie. Just going to walk away from this one, just letting them know, hey, I'm here. Step away, you got vision, doesn't matter. Cataclysm goes out as well as Coyote expends the last remnants of his mana. Not going to find the kill though, and actually is in a 1v2, just stepping up.
Yeah. So the metric we have so far from the Malaysian region is frankly not looking very good for them. It doesn't look like that they've been able to go toe-to-toe with Divine Esports. But Geek Fam were incredibly dominant regionally, right? They look good versus other teams in their region. So maybe this result notwithstanding, as 69 just gets caught out inside his own jungle, maybe they can just amp up these team fights and win through those coming into the mid game.
That's what I'll be banking on, but not if they get picked apart like you just saw there. A kill found, and a kill sorely needed if you're a Divine Esports fan, because you want to see the ball, move. You want to see the motions turning, the presence and power that has made this team such a feared roster in the past. And, Geek Fam are sort of welcoming themselves into that trap.
Frankly, every team that wants to lead this group, that wants to get out of this group with a good scoreline, needs to have a very good performance against Geek Fam. If our perception is right, and they are one of the weaker teams in this group of death, which, isn't a slight at Geek Fam, it's just they happen to be in a group with 3-4 of the best teams in the world. So, every team here that wants to be counted among one of those best teams in the world needs to put in a very solid performance against Geek Fam. And any games Geek Fam can upset, they have this very chaotic, mechanics-focused playstyle, exactly the kind of playstyle that sometimes trips very good teams up. If they can get some good team fights out, if they can demonstrate those mechanics and take a game or two off of Divine, that could have massive implications for the remainder of this tournament, for who gets out of groups, in what position.
Yeah, and it feels like the sort of similar narrative to what we mentioned about SVP at a Group A, right? A team that we've assessed so far is not really being in the top 4 contention, but certainly enough firepower at their disposal to flourish in a best-of-2 format and upset the balance of these other teams all vying for those play-off spots. Now, first Dragon winner with Divine Esports. Geek Fam respond in fitting fashion. We're going to switch the map, go for this Herald. The tidal wave goes out as they're getting zoned away from this Herald, getting closer and closer to smite range, but it looks like it's resetting. Yes, it is. Up to full HP, but the fight ensues. Another fight starts. Len takes the kill, and that is going to be Momo actually using the package to try and disengage away, splitting the fight in half, and try to chase off any key members that maybe overextend. Not going to be the case here. Divine Esports topped up and healthy, and they take down the Shang.
Yeah, in an interesting attempt by Momo, he's doing what's very, very hard for early level Corki very effectively, dropping the package and just racing across the entire team fight, laying out that AoE damage, trying to bait Divine into fighting on top of it. And I want to give him credit for being able to do that and survive the experience, but it doesn't get Divine, any further away from that Rift Herald. It doesn't get Geek Fam any closer to the fight, because Divine just say, no thank you, we don't want a team fight. And Geek Fam don't have the tools to start him.
Yeah, Len just walks in eventually. He says, whilst you guys are fighting, I'll claim that Herald. He has it in his possession now. It's worth noting he did not summon it topside to take the first turret of the game, so that's still in their possession. A big power play now for them to try and trade blow for blow with Geek Fam here and say, what is your answer, what is your response? Because that was a freebie, but we've got plenty more tricks up our sleeve with this at our disposal.
And a game like this really does come down to snowballing gold for Divine. Because they don't ever want to be kind of within the striking distance of the GEEK fam team fights. So expect them to just try and maintain this momentum, keep rolling on the ball. The big thing they can't do is give up any sketchy team fights, so yeah, you're going to save that Rift Herald. They'll probably spend it once they get a kill here in mid, or to get a kill here in mid.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? That's just wonderful right there. The chain of corruptions into the cast, locked in place, no flash to be used, just CC locked, and an easy kill onto Moment. Now the Herald will be summoned, the kill is found, and the base is being broken. It's going to get a second charge off. I mean, GEEK Fang being zoned away from this one. Whether or not Divine want this fight is not really a question, as the Ragnarok has to be utilized. They run away, but job done.
And that's what you use the Rift Herald effectively for. We've seen a lot of kind of, I don't know, budget dollar store Rift Heralds, corner store Rift Heralds this tournament. That was a big value Rift Herald. That Rift Herald was used to get the entire pack of groceries you need for the week, as it not only got the turret, but also opened up for the kill. It ensured that there was going to be something taking turret aggro. My god, Coyote. He's going to go for the Shang as well.
I guess he heard that you were talking about food, so he was getting hungry. He said, I'm going to make sure that your KDA looks like you're feeding and not in the food way. So, yeah,
wow.
this J4 kind of strong, kind of beefy.
Skimmy, I thought I was going to go one direction, and then it swerved and went a different direction, and then it swerved again, and what it was just incredible. You connected those two thoughts.
We've got to keep you on your toes here, mate. It's not as easy as just breaking this one down as play-by-play and analyst.
Oh, look at the flank.
We're on this journey, which is Wild Rift. We're having a conversation, and we're living the experience of what Divine Esports can do in Game 1 up against GEEK Fam. Cody jumps in, he walks away, the bleed stacks won't be enough. And the Shang will die for 20 seconds, and at 8 minutes into this game, this gold lead is insane. Now, 10,000 to talk about for Divine.
Yeah, the Shang is one of the best players in Malaysia, if not the best player in Malaysia. Okay.
Still a nice bit of an answer back if they can try and find this kill towards Tarnex. We've already picked up an MVP performance so far. Down goes the Shroud.
Nice.
Enough time to be found. You can hit skill shots. I don't know where you are, but we found you, and that's all that matters. GEEK Fam get their first kill of the game.
Very well played by GEEK Fam to get a kill back over. And it's gonna turn into a turret up top as well, because they can't contest this Drake, but they know that. So they're going to give away the Drake in exchange for the turret. And maybe, depending on how Coyote plays it, a kill up there as well. Oh no, he forces them off. Wow.
Yeah, they won't even get a single plate. How demoralizing is that right now? You can hit the gold card. There's the Cataclysm. You're forced to flash away. Quay. He's got the flash. He's got the body slam. Is he going to go for the free 60, 180 no scope on this barrel? He's waiting for the cooldown. It's soon to be there. Oh no, he's lost vision.
Okay,
he's lost vision. Surely not. Not anymore. No, zoned away. 4 members are here. And Quay says, all right, you've prevented me getting the highlight reel.
Quay's going for the three-pointer from half court. Just trying to find the explosive cast that gets the kill there. Unable to do it. And yeah, I mean, you're looking at the numbers, and there's an instant bias where you're like, oh my god, GEEK Fam couldn't even take the turret plate, and that sucks. But also Coyote has 2 items on them, and with the Trap Claw, it's almost impossible to shut him down. I was hoping they would have enough time to do damage to that turret before he arrived, but Twisted Fate with just 1 item doesn't quite, especially early Rod of Ages, doesn't quite have the damage to just melt turrets in the way he does late game.
Okay,
something
Quay,
you know.
I see you.
You're
He's shaking his booty over there, isn't he? He's getting a little bit excited, a little bit rowdy. He's saying, hey, I might be a support player, but let's have a bit of a dance, bit of a tango. Taking me on the Shang. Let's go.
Oh my god. He's just staying here. And Divine have a really hard problem right now, Skimmy. They're winning the game, but there's nothing for them to do. They can't start the Baron yet. They're going to collect everyone and fake it, I think. They have just seen the Destiny, actually, so now they can go for it. There we go.
Huge. Yeah, and just as you say, right on cue, Quay jumps in, says, let's see what
That's
you do. What's your
decent.
response?
What was that?
Waiting for a bit of a cheeky engage. Nothing's going to become about it, and he's just going to waddle straight back into the Baron pit. And now they're going to start it, and Hucky has to begin the huge journey from bot all the way up to this Baron. The kill's already happened. The damage has already been done. Cody's found the first kill. The marksman is gone. Momo's out of the equation. The jungler's down for 30. And, I mean, Divine Esports are saying, this is what a 10k gold lead looks like, visualized.
Which we all appreciate them doing some data visualization, but I would just like to point out, as a point of soft flame, that Coyote missed literally every cooldown on his engage there twice. He did still get the kills because they've got a 10k gold lead. But then it's just, I don't know, maybe clean that up going into the next game.
We're clutching at straws here. You know, yeah, you're an A student, but
He
it should
missed
be an
the
A+.
Cataclysm. I mean, come on.
Yeah, point and click ultimate. How do you miss that one, Chief? I don't know. But some questions maybe best left unanswered.
You know, it is still a 10k gold lead, and that's why it looks a little desynced very likely. You also saw Coyote go in when very clear that the rest of the team was like, let's go back and burn the Baron, and Coyote was like, I'm gonna fight! And that sort of stuff doesn't happen on teams that are worried about winning the game, because you have very clear comms. So, says to me that Divine aren't worried about this one at all. It's just dotting the I's, crossing the T's, filing the forms, getting the game win.
I mean, if this is the same player we had in the interview that was literally acting like a Chad saying, I don't really care, you know, then he's a guy that's not going to mind too much about chugging out some cooldowns and seeing what does and does not stick. And as we say that, I mean, the Baron pressure is being felt. The squeeze is on. The 1-3-1, every lane collapsing. Shank somehow dead off screen. Bit of a nightmare for him to try and contend with.
Both
one
summoners.
inhibitor's already gone here, TJ. A second one is about to follow. And this is a very dominant game number one performance. GEEK fam have to do something. They're just losing to minion pressure.
Len flash ults underneath the turret on Olaf. All right, mate. Finds the turret, keeps going.
Oh, dearie me. They've just absolutely wiped the floor with this base. Nothing is left standing, not a single turret. Let's take a quick stock check here. So, 20k gold lead, 9 turrets to 1. It's not the perfect game. Okay, let's not get too excited. It's a dominant game, but I think GEEK fam now, I mean, we talk about turtling, we talk about inhibitors maybe giving you a bit of resources. There's no way you can leave the base, TJ. You're stuck at home.
It's a
House
little rough.
arrest.
Quai will come back out and can by himself solo the Lee Sin as the support Gragas. Not a great sign.
Okay, Tan, I see what you're doing. There's one kill. Okay,
Wow.
going a little more time with the Zonias. Beautiful cast knockback. Everybody from Divine here is just looking to try and put themselves into the contention of that montage where we say, this is the team to watch coming out of Vietnam so far. They've zoned them into the fountain. They've welcomed them into the Sea Champs. And at the 13-minute mark, Divine Esports take game one.
And it's very easy off of that game one to say,